Chapter 42. When Alter transformed from a sea dragon to a servitor, she walked out of the sea feeling the cold air against her wet skin. There were no fires on the beach, no fellow travelers. In fact, she wondered if she was lost. It was the first time she had been traveling underwater, and when one travels underwater at night, as it turns out, it is quite easy to get disoriented. One of the limitations of cervitaurs is that they can only shapeshift from a new form back into a cervitar, and once grounded in the cervitar, as if it were their hub of existence, only then could they transform into something else. They could not go from one new body to another new body directly. Thus, when Alter was in the body of a sea dragon, she had to return to being a servitor first, before she could shapeshift into a gull or raven. Had she shapeshifted into a servitor while in the sea, she would have drowned. She was almost ready to shapeshift into a raven when she heard a sound that frightened her. Something screamed in the far distance. She looked up and saw a sight she had never seen. It appeared to be a dragon wrapped up in some kind of cloak, falling to its death. But just before it hit the treetops, it corrected its fall and headed to a nearby cliff. In the dark, it was hard to see, even for her eyes. It was simply too far away. Alter, from the beach, watched the creature fly against a steep cliff wall to a fire that burned high above, in the upper reaches of the cliff. She assumed it was obsidian, and where obsidian is, especially on this night, so must the queen also be. She decided then and there to transform into a raven and visit that place where the fire lit up the cliff walls in golds and yellows. As she got closer, she flew silently over the mouth of a large rock shelf that jutted out from a hollowed-out shallow cave. Somewhat to her surprise, Obsidian was sleeping with his queen as lovers do in front of a fire, his massive wing tossed over her like a thick blanket. Alter knew then that he was under her spell, and quite possibly, it was even mutual. She flew off in search of her friends, who seemed to be dwindling. It didn't take her too long to find the familiar beach fire. She landed next to Oriole, who was perched on one of the branches opposite the fire pit, overlooking the sea that seemed to undulate as if it were one body of water beneath the starlit sky.
"Well, how did it go?"
they asked in a chorus of voices as she shapeshifted into her servitor self. Soan, One Who, Joe, Hunter, Whisperer, and Oriole were all gathered, waiting for her description of the night's events. Alter took a deep breath and exhaled. The whole process of shapeshifting was an energetic drain. She had done a lot of shapeshifting that night and traveled in air, land, and water. She was tired, feeling the weight of a new world where dragons were dominant. From her experience, that was a world of inequity and careful dissonance. You didn't want to stand out in a dragon's world, and she, as a servitor, would certainly pose a potential threat. After a couple of breaths, she calmed down and seemed to regain her energy. The fire felt good. The familiar faces helped, and always the sound of the sea was magnetic and restorative.
The dragon world is upon us. Let there be no doubt of that fact. Obsidian is king, and Alim is queen, and they are already working on their offspring, whom they believe will have the genetics to command the air, the sea, and the land.
"No,"
Hunter shouted.
"they will never command the land. The land cannot even hear them."
You don't understand,
Alter said.
Both Alim and Obsidian believe they are gods. Their children will be gods too. And so the sea dragons have gods, plural, and they are multiplying. We, on the other hand, have none. The Queen made that abundantly clear to her subjects tonight. They have 2 gods, and more to come. We have none.
"And what do they intend to do with their religious fever?"
One Who asked.
"They have gods, we have lands, and the lands are our gods. Our gods are the trees, the weather, the lakes, the sands, and the grasses. We have many, many gods. None of them happen to be dragons. That's the only difference.
Hunter pounded the sand in support of one who.
Our gods are truly of the planet. Their gods are of their egos. That is the difference.
That may be true.
Alter said.
However, the dragons have tangible power, and that is indisputable.
They can still be destroyed.
Hunter said.
And how would you propose we do that?
Alter asked.
We sent our best hope to kill the queen, and now they sleep together on a high cliff in our own backyard. They are a mated pair, and will probably have offspring within months, so more dragons are on the way, and these dragons will have the traits of both dragons, and possibly more.
How did you infiltrate the sea dragons to hear these messages?
Sowen asked.
Oh, I forgot to mention that I created a new body template for the sea dragon. The regular ones, not the queen. I shapeshifted into a sea dragon, swam to the bay where they were all gathered by the thousands, and listened. She introduced Obsidian as if he were a god, and the crowd loved it. All I saw was a traitor.
There was a sudden flurry of opinions while nearly everyone talked over one another. Sowen cleared his throat.
We don't know that he's simply going along with the queen to gain her trust. What else can he do? He had already tried once to kill her, and she stopped him and almost killed him. Perhaps he's biding his time, waiting for the right time to kill her. We think it's premature to label him a traitor.
You have your opinion,
Hunter said.
but it is centered in weakness. And when opinion is weak, it waits. It huddles inward and takes no action. All it does is observe and analyze. We need action. I want to go to this island and see it. I need to understand what we are up against.
He turned to Alter.
I know you are tired, but can you take me to the island?
To do what?
Reconnaissance.
Hunter replied as if it was obvious.
I want to observe their world on their land.
For how long?
How large is the island?
Very large.
From here to that peninsula.
Hunter pointed down the beach.
10 times longer and 5 times wider.
Hunter scratched his chin.
That would take me several days.
And what would you gain from that?
Alter asked.
I would understand how to attack them.
Who?
The royal pair.
Alter laughed for the first time in a very long time. Others followed, somewhat hesitantly, but it did sound funny in a sad sort of way.
You, one werewolf, will kill the king and queen?
Hunter held up his hand.
We have our ways. For example, there is a type of bird in our forests, very rare, but under their beaks they have a small pouch of delicate skin that holds a very potent poison. This poison will kill a dozen werewolves if they were to touch it or drink it. It is that potent. It will kill these dragons, too, while I'm doing reconnaissance.
Do you know how dangerous your proposition is?
Sowen asked.
Death is what action taunts. Watching may bring life, but its form of life is tepid, predictable, and, to us, boring. I'm tired of watching. If the sea dragons kill me, so be it. At least I died in action and not fear.
Hunter stood to his feet.
I'm asking for approval, just so I'm clear. I will do this now.
He glanced at one who.
Can you make sure they find the willow bird and secure me the poison of 2 birds?
One who nodded, his eyes proud, but there was a tiny bit of fear lurking behind the pride that he might lose his most powerful asset, his general.
Let's go.
He walked out to the sea, up to his waist, and turned to look at Alter, who was still debating within herself as to whether this was a smart move.
Come on. You know how much we werewolves deplore the water. I'm already having second thoughts. Please, let's go.
Alter sighed and waded out to the same point as Hunter, and then, through some miraculous method that no other creature could replicate, turned into sphere light that then transformed into a sea dragon. The werewolf lay on top of her. They were almost exactly the same length. He grabbed her dorsal fins on either side of her and wrapped his legs around her tail.
I'm ready. Let's go.
His voice was shrill, loud, fearful, and powerful all at the same time, and Alter, even as a sea dragon, could understand it all. The sea was calm, allowing her to stay atop the surface of the water, keeping Hunter above the waterline with only the occasional slap of water in his face. After 20 minutes, they could see the island. Alter steered clear of the bay, moving toward the southernmost beaches where she hoped the sea dragons could not be found. As she got to the shallow water, she stopped, and Hunter got off her back and immediately slogged his way up to the beach, grateful to be on firm land again. Alter went through her shape-shifting routine, returning to her servitor self, and joined Hunter on the beach. The starlight was subdued, and in the east, the tiniest glow of light was starting, turning the sky a dark shade of gray.
I will be on this beach exactly at this time tomorrow. That's how much time you have. If you are not here when I arrive, I'll assume the worst and move on. Watch for me and do not be late. You are our best hope.
She put her hand on his shoulder.
Okay?
Hunter nodded, turned, and ran into the forests that bordered the beach from the inner reaches of the island. Alter transformed into a gull and flew off. She had become the courier of hope, and hope had become the grit and determination of Hunter.